Smriti, I do want to ask you a question about, so Amanda mentioned something about targeting. We actually had one question about personalization of ads in our survey. I didn't pull a slide up, but it showed that, you know, the overwhelming majority of users either didn't care about personalization or actually liked personalization. Am I getting that data correct there?
Yeah, absolutely. That was very shocking, at least for the fact that, you know, every company has invested so much in last few years about personalization of things that they do. But, you know, when we did the study, 54% of the people really didn't care about personalization of ads.
At all,
They
had no
at
preference.
all. Yes. Only 35% actually, 35% didn't like personalization and 11% liked personalization. So vast majority of the people didn't care. You know, they will watch ads when they want to, they won't watch ads, but they didn't care about personalization, which was shocking.
Yeah, and to me, Matt, I throw that to you. I mean, I know you're involved both in the distribution part, but you also have to think about the ad split and all that ad inventory, because that's to Jonathan and Amanda's point, that's a huge part of the economics that you have to consider as you're going out there. When you think about, you know, obviously personalization and programmatic, not necessarily the same thing, but when you think about personalization, and the vast majority, 60+%, either liking personalized ads or not caring one way or the other, do you go beyond that and say, okay, so how do we further the experience to personalize it for the consumer? But then also, are there other new commerce or other economic benefits on the other side of that?
Yeah, I think so I think on the targeting piece, you know, that is precision targeting is a big sort of part of our offering, but the other part of the offering is really scale, right? Like we're available in all of these households, whether it's on traditional televisions, connected devices, phones, tablets, you know, you kind of name it. And that's a big part of our offering, right? And, you know, the other piece is making it easier for buyers to sort of transact on our inventory. So there's, you know, a lot that goes into it on sort of the offering piece, but on the personalization side, in addition to like the data and the catering an ad to an individual user, there's all these sort of enhancements or improvements where we can use the opportunity from an advertising perspective to delight the consumer, right? Things like pause ads or things like, you know, where we can really sort of.
What's a pause ad?
So if you happen to pause your TV and want to go get a drink or something, like in that background, you sort of get a branded experience slate, if you will, which is an ad spot effectively, and then when you sort of unpause, you get back into.
Well, that's an interesting new technique to basically avoid the disintermediation of advertising. So I've hit pause for whatever reason because I'm answering a phone call or I'm getting something from the fridge.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's kind of like the first screen experience. Samsung takes a tremendous amount of advantage of that.
Yep.
I don't think Roku takes nearly enough advantage of it, to be blunt. I think there's a tremendous amount of real estate that's unsold there for that first screen. But you're using the pause screen as an interesting way to add dollars to, and it's a personalized ad. So it tends to fit the environment that the consumer is watching it too.
Yeah. And everything sort of around, you know, and then you sort of think about like scarcity, you know, the traditional television model has a lot of advertising per hour, you know, could we do less on a Peacock experience to really
do less, charge more? Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. And then in terms of like just new distribution models in general, you know, thinking outside of video, you know, we're focused on commerce as a product where we can sort of add a shopping experience directly in line with the video itself, which is proving to be a pretty successful venture for us so far. We've got a partnership with Anzu, which is a gaming company where we're doing in-game ads now, which is really interesting for us. So I think we're really looking to innovate in this space quite a bit for sure. So yes, going beyond sort of the traditional, you know, targeting or personalization.